Hey, it's 11:40 The Bet, of course, Audacy Sports as well. And joining us, this is his third time. We can officially call him a friend of the show, one of the best in the business when it comes to the NBA. Howard Beck joining us, senior writer at Sports Illustrated, co-host of the Crossover Pod. Howard, thank you for joining us. And I just want to say right now, I apologize. I don't know if you could tell by my voice. Last week was obviously Radio Row at Super Bowl week, but for you, how are you doing?
Good to be considered friend of the show. Glad to punch my card a third time. Hope I get a free coffee after 10 of these or something. And your voice sounds fine. It sounds like you survived Super Bowl week just in good shape. So glad your voice came through. I know it's utter chaos there.
Yeah, 100%. Just getting us ready for it being here in Vegas next year. But as we start, before we get into the trade deadline, I want to ask you about LeBron and full disclosure, because I know we haven't talked about this. I'm born and raised in Cleveland, so I'm a little biased because my passion for the Cavs and watching LeBron is like one of the main reasons that I get paid to talk about sports. So obviously a lot of admiration. And of course, him breaking the record happened so close to the deadline, so close to the Super Bowl. But to me, I just found it odd that there was a lot of discourse about, oh, that's cool. He set the record, but the Lakers are still 13th. Or, of course, hey, MJ's still better. So I say all that to ask you, this is one of the greatest individual records in like the history of sports and certainly basketball. And for you in these 20 years that he's been playing professionally, what sticks out to you being the most impressive thing?
Oh man, it's hard to make it about any one thing because LeBron getting that record is the totality of so many things that have made him a legend. And if LeBron had never gotten the all-time scoring record, if he'd retired yesterday or three days ago, 10 days ago, 3 years ago, he's already not just an all-time great, but he's already in the GOAT discussion. However, people want to break that down. It's not a debate that interests me that much, but have at it, folks. He's got a case. And if you retire with a case for GOAT, um,
Pretty
that's an
good.
achievement unto itself. Yeah, you've done everything there is to do. The way I view it, and what I think impressed me most when he got the record, you could talk about it, the longevity aspect, 20 years, and still being an all NBA caliber player in year 20, which is unheard of. You could talk about just the consistency of it all. You can talk about a lot of other things. I think what's most meaningful to me at the moment that he got the record was that it came a week or so after LeBron busted into the top five in assists, past Steve Nash,
It's
past Mark
unbelievable.
Jackson. So when we think of all-time great scorers, we usually gravitate toward guys who scoring was everything they did. They were single-minded about it. It's not that Michael Jordan didn't also have, great playmaking skills or didn't rebound and defend. Obviously, Michael Jordan was an incredible defender. It's not that nobody else who has been a great scorer has had a well-rounded game. It's just that LeBron's is probably the most well-rounded. And the fact that he can be the top scorer in NBA history by total points and be in the top five and still climbing in assists. The way I've put it before, and I'll stand by this, and I said this like 5 or 6 years ago. I think I even wrote it at the time. He will finish, or already is, as the greatest playmaker among the all-time great scorers and the greatest scorer among the all-time great playmakers. Nobody else can check off both boxes as high a level as he can. And to me, I think that's what really stood out at the moment that he got the scoring record, is that he didn't set out to get it. He didn't set out to be a scorer. He set out to be a team-focused guy who on day one was supposed to be more Magic than Michael. That's what everybody said. And he became a fusion of both of them.
You know what, Howard? I just want to tell you right now, you have a future in talking and writing about basketball because that was eloquently put, my friend.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah, and we're talking about Steve Nash, a two-time MVP point guard. Like it's unfathomable to me. But we'll move away from LeBron and get straight into this trade deadline. And obviously, this year, an avalanche of deals all over the place. But in particular for the teams that didn't make any major moves. So I'm talking Toronto. Memphis, no disrespect to Luke Kennard. Cleveland's another one, Chicago as well. Which team do you think missed a great chance to improve their future?
Ooh, man, who missed a great chance? There's so many directions I could go with that question. I mean, I'm going to just start with Chicago because I just think Chicago has absolutely plateaued, and the plateau actually was reached a year ago. And I don't know what it is that what they see anymore in this team as constructed. There was an opportunity there to sell off your best players, basically. To see what you could get for DeMar DeRozan, to see what you could get for Zach LaVine, to see what you could get for Vucevic. I mean, these are guys who are very talented players who would be great third or fourth pieces on a contender, but who collectively as Bulls are not better than the sum of their parts. They just aren't. The proof is right there in front of us, staring us all in the face, staring the Bulls front office and ownership in the face. And yet this all-in move that they made within the last couple of seasons to say, well, we want to be relevant now. We need to end our playoff drought. We need to be competitive. We need to sacrifice our future, frankly, in that deal with Orlando in particular, just for the sake of winning a few more games and being a low playoff team that's going to get knocked out in the first round. And that's all this team is. At best, it's a first round out with no real upside because of the age of some of these guys. And they're not, they're not getting any better. So there is no path forward with this group. Now they can revisit it in the offseason. Maybe they just didn't get an offer they liked. Maybe they thought, you know what, let's make one more first round and out run for what it's worth. And then we'll revisit this in the offseason. But I thought that was a big missed opportunity. We could talk about some of the contenders or others that I thought, could have made better moves or should have moved. But the Bulls to me stand out as the team that just by doing nothing really made a mistake.
And just for clarification, didn't the Bulls president say before the deadline that they were all in? Like in terms of at the deadline, like trying to all in and try to improve the team. So either or on either perspective, like they didn't get
pick
better.
A direction.
Yeah,
pick a direction. Like if you're all in, then okay, make the win now move. Although I would say it's a foolish tack to take given where you are. But yeah, do something. Staying put should not have been an option.
100%. And I brought up Luke Kennard with Memphis. So I'll transition from teams that didn't make a move to the under the radar move that wasn't talked about much that you really enjoyed for a team.
Oh, that was obviously good. Listen, I like the Knicks picking up Josh Hart. I was shocked by that move. Josh Hart's a really good, really useful player and by all accounts, great guy. And I was a little surprised at Portland's maneuverings where like you're offloading Josh Hart, you're bringing back Cam Reddish on a flyer, and you're also bringing Matisse Thybulle. And like, I don't know, like the Blazers are puzzling to me. A lot of teams are puzzling. The Blazers are up there in the top 5 most puzzling teams probably right now because I can't quite get a sense of like, well, where are you going with all this? But trading Josh Hart, a really good defensive guard. He's had a struggle with the 3-pointer this season, at least until he got to New York. But a good 3-and-D guy, a versatile guy, guard multiple positions, a great rebounding guard. So I was puzzled on their side of it. But in terms of great under the radar pickups or, less sexy pickups than say the Kyrie and Kevin Durant trades, I thought the Knicks did a great job in picking up Josh Hart, fortifying a team that obviously is in contention to be, if not straight up a playoff team, certainly a strong play-in team that should make the playoffs. I don't view the Knicks as having a ton of upside for this postseason. They're probably a first round out, but they've built a nice, solid group that's playing really well together. Julius Randle's revived. Adding to it at this stage kind of makes sense.
And for the record, full disclosure, 1140 The Bet traded 7 second-round picks to make sure this interview happened. I think it was a good move. And you brought up Kyrie and, of course, the Kevin Durant, the blockbuster trades at the deadline. And I know ad nauseum, until probably the finals, if Phoenix makes it there, the conversation is going to be about the depth. Do they have enough? The experience, are they going to gel? But to you, as Phoenix moves in to have the second best odds to win the title right below Boston, who do you think's the biggest threat to contend against Phoenix making it out of the West?
So I have been saying all week to anybody who will listen and anybody who won't just like throw rotten tomatoes at me for saying it. I don't think the Suns are like some clear-cut favorite in the West. I think they are among the favorites. I think getting Kevin Durant, clearly you have raised your ceiling by a ton.
Just a bit.
Durant and Booker and Chris Paul together, along with DeAndre Ayton, like that's a very formidable foursome. However, I just think we're getting ahead of ourselves when we immediately crown a team the favorites when you pick up the superstar, especially when you're doing it at the time that they are, and especially given that superstar has not played since early January and is not back yet until at least another week or two. Durant's gonna have maybe 20, 22 games or something to get acclimated there, and for he and Booker and Chris Paul to kind of figure out their, their distribution of usage rate and shots and passing and ball handling, all that. So there's that. They gave up really important players to make the deal, obviously, Mikal Bridges and Cam Johnson. So you've lost a bunch of perimeter defense. It's not that easy to just backfill that, even with the buyout market, even with, picking up a Terrence Ross or whoever. Like, you're just not getting that depth back immediately. Durant is hurt, as I mentioned. Durant has been getting hurt for long stretches every season since the Achilles. And Chris Paul, at his late stages, misses a ton of games every season, and both of them already have. So has Devin Booker. So you got to at least consider like some health concerns for them. I don't know, not to say chemistry concerns, but chemistry work that just needs to be done to get acclimated in a very short period before they start the postseason. And then there's just the fact that you got to respect what the Denver Nuggets have already been doing all season as a very cohesive group that's got continuity, that's been together for years, that has the 2-time reigning MVP, who's now a favorite for a third MVP. You got to have respect for the Memphis Grizzlies. It's been a little bumpy lately, but they'll get Steven Adams back and they'll, I think, be fine. The Clippers have revived themselves. I know people don't want to talk about the Clippers as a potential title contender because everybody's just kind of given up on them because of a rocky few years, and they're never healthy. Well, they're healthy right now. They're healthy, and they had a great trade deadline. They picked up a lot of really solid pieces to put around Kawhi Leonard and Paul George. So I'm not ruling them out. And by the way, I'm not even ruling out the Warriors. I know. Like, it's getting to that point where maybe we all should like come to grips with the fact that they're not who they were anymore. But the core of a championship team is still there. We still see it at times on the court. Steph will come back soon-ish. Look, the Gary Payton deal became another fiasco for them, but he'll get healthy at some point too, presumably. And then it's just a matter of, can they find anybody else on the buyout market?
Howard, I don't mean to interrupt you, but I just want to say we talked to you before the playoffs, and that is exactly what you said about the Warriors. You were like, please don't doubt them. They have the experience. Steph is Steph. When the lights get brightest, they've been there plenty. So it's still there until it's kind of like Tom Brady. Until he actually gets defeated, you have to see it to believe it. And my next question is contractually obligated here, being in Vegas, a lot of Laker fans. So what are the Lakers getting with D'Angelo Russell coming back?
Ooh, there's a question. All right, so there was obviously the young, immature version of D'Angelo Russell that, created a lot of issues for the Lakers the first time through. Then there was the D'Angelo Russell I saw here in Brooklyn in my backyard, who actually, made an all-star team, became a bit of a leader for a gutty Nets team that impressed everybody with how hard they played and overachieved every year. There was this brief stopover in Golden State before Minnesota. Now, Minnesota, D'Angelo Russell, I think this is an evolved version of him, a more mature version of him. There are still rumblings around the league that D'Angelo Russell can be kind of a pain in the butt to play with at times, maybe to coach at times. But he's having a really productive season and an efficient season. He's really good. And listen, the talent is there. He's also a big shot maker, by the way. Like, he's a guy who is remember, he was the ice in the veins guy. That was his trademark for a while. And on a team like the Lakers, where you have LeBron James and Anthony Davis, where you've got a nice structure set of superstars that he's going to have to defer to, I think that's his best role. Like, having him in a critical role for a young developing team in Minnesota, maybe not the best fit. Mike Conley is the better option for them right now. I have no question in my mind that Mike Conley is the kind of point guard they need with Anthony Edwards and with Rudy Gobert and Karl-Anthony Towns when Towns gets back. But D'Angelo Russell, as a guy who can play off of LeBron, I think will be excellent for the Lakers. I like what the Lakers did at the deadline, and I've been very critical of that front office, but I think they did very well to fortify themselves, and they just need to get LeBron back on the court.
See, Lakers fans, some positivity from someone on this show specifically. And for that, now we have to put on our GM hat, our captains of the All-Star game. I asked you before we started the interview to have the All-Star rosters in front of you so that we can pick our starting five. So you can pick anybody. I know there's a lot of dudes on there that are hurt that aren't actually going to participate, but just for simplicity's sake, you can pick whoever you want. And since you're a guest on the show, Howard, you get to pick first. Who are you taking for your starting five?
So I guess we're ruling out all the guys who are injured that we're not expecting to play.
If you want to, or if you don't, either or you make that
Well, we
decision.
should
You
go
want
with the guys who like the captains themselves are going to be picking on Sunday, right?
all
Which
right,
is one
fair
or two of
enough.
the injured guys. By the way, for purposes of this exercise, I think I'm LeBron and you're Giannis because I'm the old head in this conversation. I got the grays in my beard, so
Thank you.
I'm Team LeBron, you're Team Giannis. I hope you like smoothies.
Of course.
For the first pick for Team LeBron, boy, this is tough. I think I got to go with Luka. I think of everybody in that pool, he's the all around talent I want to build around.
All right, so you got a playmaker to start it off. Oh boy, you know what? I'll pick Giannis. Why not?
No, you are Giannis, so you're already on your
Oh,
own,
so I'm okay. Okay, so then okay. So now I
right?
need. Yeah, no, that makes sense. You're 100% right. You know what? How do I don't want to go Donovan Mitchell. We have to be quick. Adrian, this is a speed round, sir. Um, you know what? That's cool. I'll take Donovan. I like what he's been doing this year. Come on, he's been extraordinary.
Good deal. All right. From there, then I want to fill out my backcourt with some excellent defense and all around play. I'm going Jaylen Brown.
Okay, that's fantastic. You know what? Let's make a little Twin Towers. I'll take Jokic.
Nice. Okay.
What a weird roster.
I'm gonna need somebody to contend with Jokic. Not that anybody really can, but love Jaren Jackson Jr. So give me Triple J.
I can't believe I totally disrespected Embiid. Philly fans are gonna get on my ass for that. Okay, so
I should have taken Embiid to counter Jokic. Actually, if we're being honest here, like we you know what?
Too late.
We've screwed up the rivalry now. Now you're going to make them teammates, and it's like now they're going to have to like shake hands and get along.
No, it's okay. You can take them.
All right. I'll go. I'll pivot to Embiid to keep up the good storylines. Storylines are important in this league.
No, 100%. Shea, I'll go with Shea Gilgeous-Alexander.
Love Shea having a phenomenal season. All right. So since we ourselves are, as LeBron and Giannis, part of the team, we now each have four. So I have LeBron, Luka, Jaylen Brown, and Embiid. You are Giannis, Mitchell, Jokic, and SGA. So I probably need, if this were traditional NBA basketball, I would need one more big, but it's, we're in a positionless or at least a positionally fluid era. A lot of directions I could go here. I'm going to go Bam because he can play the four anyway, and he can step out and shoot a little bit.
Brilliant pick.
And I'm feeling like I got a lot of length now for defensively.
And that Jaylen Brown pick really stumped me. That's fantastic. I would go Lauri Markkanen just for the Utah fans, but then I don't really like Utah fans, so I don't want to do anything for him. So, Steph's out of this game.
There's
Jason,
a glaring omission from our rosters right
no,
now.
and I know he's staring me right at the face, but I also don't really like Boston fans either. You know what? Whatever. Hey, you see? Yep, we're thinking the same thing. Whatever. I'll take him. He's in Ruffles bags. Jason Tatum.
Yeah.
I'll close it out with that. All right. So what I'm going to do is we're going to put up the graphics on social media and see who likes other teams first. That was fantastic. And as always, Howard, thank you so much for joining us, especially with All-Star break and All-Star week going on and everything going on surrounding that. So Howard, as always, thank you so much for the time.
My pleasure, Adrian. Thanks for having me back. Appreciate it.
Of course. All right. Perfect, Howard. Thank you so much, man. Have a great week.
You got it, man. You too. Take care.
Bye-bye.